like this shouldn't be such a difficult thing. I compare, treat others how you want to be treated, do unto others, whatever you want to say. So I look at like how I am and what I want from people. And I look at it like if you ask me why I support anything, I'm not going to cry about it. Not going to get mad. Not going to care at all, honestly. It'll be like, it'll just be like, just okay. So we here, actually, I guess I will care. I'll be happy that you asked because it gives me the opportunity to explain something to you, to give you some information that apparently you didn't have before. Because I truly believe, like, if everybody knew what I know, then they wouldn't believe what they believe. It's really simple, honestly. You would think like that's the thing about it, is so much of it is, what's up there, Karen? Appreciate it. How are you? Hope everything's good for you. Whoa, they changed shit up. I expect you guys to really pull apart everything I say and try to find everything I'm saying that's wrong and make me look as stupid as you can. Like, I'm all for that. I want the healthy debate. I believe that makes me stronger. Hey, there, Detroit. Yes. Here in this beautiful, beautiful Detroit. But I'm always trying to get you guys to just think. I mean, literally, that's all it comes down to. Use your common sense and just think, like, does this make sense to me? Does the narrative I'm given make any sense whatsoever, or is it like an insult? An insult? Is it? Do I feel like you'd have to be stupid to believe this? And I think most of the time that's how it should be. I mean, I don't really understand what people are holding on to. To me, it's all just, it's mind-numbingly stupid. Fucking A. Alright, hang on. You guys gotta give me a second. Alright, sorry about that. Wait. One more second. Alright, maybe this time it'll work. Like to me, it shouldn't be such a big deal. If I ask you why you support Trump, you should be proud to express why you support Trump. You should be proud to express why you support Israel. I'm proud of everything I believe. I'm proud of everything I say. I look at it like it's all this opportunity to help people get to a better place. And I think, asking these questions is how we get to the better place. So I just don't understand why people get so weird about it. There's 8 people watching right now, at least. I know one of you is a Trump supporter. It shouldn't be that hard. Like, why do you support Trump? What has he done that makes you think he's great? And it's, there's so much more to it. How anybody supports Israel, no idea. I mean, other than obviously you're Jewish and but when you look at it from that, like how they have Christians believing that Jews are God's chosen people. It's wild, because if you looked at it like Christians believe that Muslims are God's chosen people, everybody's just gonna laugh like that's impossible. Why would Christians believe Muslims are God's chosen people? That's a completely different religion altogether, and you know what? That's stupid. That you think about it like that's fucking stupid. But when you say it's Jews, Christians just lap that shit up, and why would you think that way? Or I guess I know why you think that way, but why don't you think about how ridiculous it is? You know? That's the part that's crazy to me. You don't see it as it's a completely different religion. Who really believes some fucked up crazy shit compared to you? You know, when you good morning. When you compare like what they believe, hang on a second. When you look at like, you know, what the Jews believe about Jesus and Mary and all that shit, like it's pretty wild. It's wild that Christians would then continue to accept them as being their chosen people when you realize like they believe like Mary is boiling in a vat of boiling semen in hell for all of eternity. Crazy shit. Like, your belief structure is crazy as it is. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't see that's one of those things that I always thought was stupid. It's kind of like how people get weird. Like, oh my God, in China they eat dog meat. They eat dogs. That's crazy. That's disgusting. And it's like, dude, you eat pigs and cows and shit. Oh, it's for drugs, man. It's for drugs, Haley. Woo! No. Every time I say I'm out here buying cards or something, it's actually drugs. So, hang on a second. Man, that's nuts. You're out scoring. I believe the luck I have here. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes when I look into your eyes, that's where I can see your soul. Sometimes when I look deep into your eyes, that's where I can see your soul. I bet you none of you can tell me what song that is. Or who sings it. I couldn't tell you the name of the song, actually. I can tell you who's singing it. That's badass. Why would somebody retract a message? That's weird. That's what I mean. Like, should you be just proud of what you say? If you're not proud of what you're saying, then why are you saying it? Look how pretty Detroit is. So pretty. And it's on a lot of my playlists. called Sometimes by a band called James. Shut the fuck up. You actually know that shit? I am so impressed by you, Karen. Wow. That wasn't even a mainstream hit of theirs. You have to listen to their fantastic fucking album, Laid, to actually know it. That's so fucking cool. Wow, Karen, you just became a lot cooler to me. This guy's got to be big time. Somehow he's a big wig. He looks goofy as hell. He's got a mohawk, and it's gray, but he's driving an expensive car. He looks like money. He's got expensive glasses on. Wish I knew who that guy was. Sometimes when I look deep into your eyes, I swear I can see your soul. I've never seen them. I couldn't even tell you if they had another album or anything. I know they had the one hit. This bear's on fire with passion and love, and I must complain about the nothing amount, but she only comes when she's on top. Hang on a second. Jesus Christ. Alright. That's better now. Fucking A, this shit was all fucked up. That first album by them is just, it's amazing. It really is like it's one of those secret little treasures that if you don't know it, you're missing out. The whole thing, it's one of those hit play albums. It's like a TBG album. If you're into that kind of crazy, stupid, bad shit. But there's not a bad song on that album. And again, I don't know if they have any more. They didn't have any more hits that I could go off of. Let's see, are you a Jets to Brazil fan too? Jim Brown and I saw them together years ago. Another story. I was listening to James this morning. That's so crazy. Aren't they like a Irish band or some shit? Are they American? I don't know. When I look deep into your eyes, I swear I can see your soul. Sometimes. Nothing. I'm not talking about that. Anyway, let's get back to the real conversation. What are we doing? Do you guys know that there's a genocide happening right now? That ethnic cleansing is happening right now? You don't have the stop sign, you dumbass. That is so disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that it's fucking happening. And it's like the majority of the people just don't care. And they would care, if it was their people, their lineage, whatever you want to say. their race that was being wiped off the fucking map, then not only would they care, they would want everybody else to care. And if you didn't care, you'd be called a racist or, you know, ist of some sort. They'd call you names. And I just, you know, I'm not Palestinian. I'm not Middle Eastern. I have literally zero connection to any of it. Which is probably why I'm so appalled by what I see. You know, normally all you people can just be like, oh, well, they're doing God's work, or, you know, some other bullshit, and make yourself not feel as bad for being the piece of shit you are, I guess. I don't know. There were 8 people on this video until I mentioned there was 8 people on the video. And then everybody was like, "Oh, fuck that." But you know, there were 8 people, and at the time I said, you know, if there's 8 people on here, at least one of you is a Trump supporter. Why won't you come talk about it? And like, it's just, I'm just so, it's so weird. Like, I just don't understand. I mean, I guess they programmed it into us that we're not supposed to talk about politics and religion and money and love and like, I don't. It's disgusting that word peace can come out of their mouths now, and they can be seen as compassionate. I don't know by who. Not me. You know, they're the ugliest, worst people in the world, both physically and, you know, internally and externally. I just, their religion is disgusting. Their beliefs are disgusting. The sound that they make when they talk is disgusting. It's gross. Everything is just gross. You got 3 now. I got 1. You. And if there's 3, you know at least 2 of them are Israeli trolls. It's so weird to say that because I know so many people hear me and they're like, what are you talking about? It's Israeli trolls. Strange, man. This isn't how I wanted it to be. I just think it's all so weird. Just weird. How is anybody that heartless? How is anybody that callous? It's so mind-numbing. You can exist in this world where you don't care about people because you perceive them to be the wrong color, or just, I mean, when it comes to the Jews, we're all not them, so we're expendable. That's some next level shit. You know, you're us or you're not. And you make up 0.183% of the world's population. There's 8 billion people on this planet. All of the rest of us are expendable. That is disgusting. That is some disgustingly arrogant, racist as fuck shit. Supremacist. I mean, again, it's not racist, it's supremacist. I have to always correct myself because racism is the word we hear all the time. Supremacy is a much more accurate description of of what we're talking about. Because like even with like racism, like with white people, you know, you know, the white race is a really broad stroke, and there's a lot of different components to that white race. And this is where that one brought lived. Ugh. Israeli news conference suggesting peace, not weakness, but courageous to agree with a two-state solution. But they do that all the time. If you guys remember, we probably don't, because it wasn't covered very well, but there was a gosh, what was the guy's name? Fuck. The Mohammed. He was the like the official head of the Palestinian Authority. And this is back when the Palestinian Authority was actually something, because it's strange how the Palestinian Authority hasn't been heard from in a very long time. But he was like the Israeli put in charge Palestinian Authority that, you know, he was the guy that would speak out and was used as the representation of, like, he was like the equivalent of the Palestinian president or some shit. And he, there was the Munich, Germany 50-year anniversary, where the Israeli Jews were demanding more reparations. They had already received millions of dollars over the years. But of the 11 Jews that were killed in 1972 by Jews, by the Israelis, or at least at the direction of the Israelis, because the Israelis were the ones that took over the operation and you know, essentially pulled the trigger to shoot down the helicopters and whatnot. Pretty sure there were some Israeli soldiers there too. But the 11 people that died, I mean, 50 years ago, I don't know how much family members they still have, how many direct family members they still have, how many family members were alive at the time that even remember these people, because they were in their, you know, 20s and shit when this happened, maybe even later. So they'd be well into their 70s. So that whoever's still alive that remembers them, it can't be a lot of people. I think they said it was like 26 people or some shit. 20, I don't remember. Maybe it's 21 people. But they ended up getting like a settlement where they were to be given $21 million or some shit. No, 27.8, 20, almost 28, almost $30 million. It's 27 or 28 point something or something like that. But it was almost $30 million. And they were bitching because they felt like they should have gotten more like $100 million. And and so, you know, like I say, they were bitching they didn't get enough money, but they got their huge multi-million-dollar thing, and at that thing, can't remember who the the delegate was, whatever it was, the Israeli delegate was there, and it was a high-ranking whoever it was, and he said, you know, we're not opposed to a two-state solution, you know, blah blah blah, all this shit, and the Palestinian Authority guy said, well, that's great. Let's get to the table right away, because Israel has a history of reneging on these sort of statements. And Jesus Christ, I feel so bad for these people. And the world condemned him for pushing anti-Semitism. For when they say, I have such a hard time with the idea of him being anti-Semitic. He's Semitic. He can't be anti-Semitic. So the wording of it is always funny, because, you know, what they're bitching about is anti-Semitism. And they're right. The Jews are absolutely right. When they bitch about something being anti-Semitism, they are 100% correct. But it's your perception of what that definition is. Oh my God, you fucking nutbag. Holy shit. I almost saw an extremely bad accident. Holy shit. Wow, that was nuts. Jesus. But I lost my fucking place. That shit was so crazy. I can't believe that shit almost happened. But yeah, they attacked him, and the whole idea that of him and his anti-Semitism, and he shouldn't have said those. And all he was saying was that, I mean, the fucking truth. Israel says shit like that all the time, and then they renege. What is there's nothing negative or racist or whatever about that statement. Yeah, I'm fine. That statement is truth. It is absolutely anti-Semitism. And for those that don't know, Semitism is much different than Semitic. You've never heard of anti-Semitism. You've never been told or thought to think, what does Semitism mean? If there's anti-Semitism, then there's pro-Semitism, there's Semitism. Semitism must be a thing if there's anti-Semitism. And why do Jews always refer to it as anti-Semitism? Why aren't they complaining about anti-Jewish? You know, there's a reason. And it's an important reason. The reason being, they couldn't care less if you support their Jewishness. They actually hope that you don't. They hope that you don't want anything to do with Judaism or anything. They just hope you accept Semitism. That they deserve favor. That they deserve special treatment. That they deserve better than you do. That's what Semitism is. That's all they're concerned with. They don't care if you believe their crazy bullshit, David, this, blah, blah. They don't care about any of that. They don't care if you think their religion is right or anything like that. They prefer you don't know about their religion. The less you know, the better it is, because once you start knowing what they believe and how they absolutely believe in supremacy, their supremacy, then you I would think you would inherently oppose it. Once you realize what it is, you would oppose it. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe maybe you're cool with the idea of being, I can't even say second class. There's no, in their idea, in their mindset, there is no class there. It's how we view dogs and cats and shit is how they view us. And when you understand that shit for what it truly is, to then call them God's chosen people, to give them favor, you know, to be okay with sending our American youth off to die fighting. And you know what the crazy part is? There probably won't even be a whole lot of American casualties, at least not until Saudi Arabia or Iran gets involved. But the psychological damage that's done to people that are forced to go kill innocent people, it's gonna fuck up an entire generation of psychos, because they're gonna be the ones that come home well trained to kill and all that, and they're gonna be all fucked up. Jim says, cheers with the support and shares of post late. Much appreciated. Yeah, well, do the same, dude. Share this link on the Facebook and tell everybody to come fucking watch. Tell everybody to not just come watch, come talk. Come tell me what I'm wrong about. This guy's an idiot. Come tell him what he's wrong about. Whatever it takes. It's strange how easy it is to compare this to like prize fighting. Like I end up feeling like this incredible prize fighter champion, you know, undisputed guy who, you know, Mike Tyson in his prime kind of shit. Where it's like I've got these open weight challenges to anybody that wants to step in the ring and test their mettle. Anybody who thinks they're better than me and thinks that they can best me in the argument. Whatever it takes, come do it. And nobody takes the challenge. And I can't help but, you know, why? Why won't anybody take the challenge? You know, I got into it with my kids last night. Well, it was a bunch of shit, but my kid was saying, you know, I asked him, why do you do the staring thing? Because his mom does it. It drives me crazy. I don't know. Oh, okay. Oh. Thanks. And he says, well, you know, because he'll either talk back, like he'll argue. Talk back. He's not really smart. Like, whatever. I don't care. But he'll either argue or he'll stare at me. And I go, why do you stare at me? And he says, well, because if I want this conversation to end. And I said, well, this conversation can end if you just acknowledge what you're doing. And it was something stupid, like he had eaten eggs. He had went to the neighbor's house and had some eggs at like 6 o'clock, 6:30, and we had dinner at like 7. And so he wasn't hungry. Or we had just started, and I was like, dude, you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to finish your food. And he's like, oh, no, I will. I'm fine. And I'm like, no, you won't. You ate food. You're going to be about halfway through. You're going to get full. No, and it started this big thing. And then about halfway through, he's full. And I was like, see, dude, this is all I wanted you to see, is that, you know, if it's 6 o'clock at night and someone offers you food, you have to call and ask and think about, like, talk about it. Maybe we'll say yes, maybe we'll say no, but the chances are we have dinner planned and we don't want you fucking up your dinner. And he's just mad, and then he's doing the staring thing again, and it's like, and it's like, why is it your only option is to argue or to stare? Why is the one option that's not there to acknowledge what you're doing. And he says, even if I do, you'll just keep going. If I say I'm sorry or whatever, you'll just keep going. And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to keep going. It's important that we try to figure out why whatever it is that happened. You can't just be like, I'm sorry, and then that's the end of. That's not how things work. Especially when it's something that you do multiple times, multiple different ways. We have to figure out why you're not thinking about this or that. Like, you always have to, especially when it's kids or especially when it's somebody that wants to get better, you have to break down why you did the thing you did to begin with. And that same argument, that same mentality is something that my kid's 14. Like, I expect it from my 14-year-old son. Never an idiot. He just thinks you're stupid. What do you think? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure I'm missing something. But it's always one of these things where it's like, knowing that I'm right, I'm inspired to want to spread that information with as many people as possible. I don't understand the perspective of, yeah, I'm right, but I can't talk about it. And that's something that I mean, it's, I guess I take it for granted that I have 10,000 hours of talking under my belt. I'm an expert at talking at this point. Do you think it's an age and a hormonal thing? Partially. Partially, he's the one that's more like mom. So the staring thing is something mom does. And I was unfairly short-fused because I'd been dealing with a very similar situation with mom earlier in the day. So or not even earlier in the day, earlier in the evening. So I was already frustrated. So I was partially at fault as well. But at the end of the day, I'm really proud of who my kids are, because my kids can have an adult conversation and talk about things that a lot of adults can't, and hold a conversation that a lot of adults can't hold, because they've been spoken to their whole lives. Instead of being spanked, being, stand in the corner, do blah, 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 Of course, there's the send to the room and chill out, grab your thoughts by yourself for a second. But it's always conversation. I spanked my kids. They don't remember the last time I spanked them. And I remember the last time I spanked. Yeah, actually, I do remember the last time I spanked them. My youngest, it was a very long time ago. And my oldest, it was like maybe 4th grade or something, like way too old kind of thing. But like, it was I don't know, it was weird. It was a last ditch. It was just a weird time, but the title on your post, share. Sure. Whatever you gotta do. I support you in whatever method you choose to support me. I mean, you have to remember, for years, there used to be all sorts of pages made about me. And pages made specifically to harass and you know, make fun of or just whatever, you know, created in a negative, with malicious intent, with negative intent. But to me, I always thought it was great. Like, at the end of the day, there's going to be at least a few of those people that stumble across those pages that are going to want to find out about the real thing. And they'll come here. And I firmly believe that anybody that comes here and tries to have the conversation will, you know, will have an experience, to say the least. Now, if you're willing to, you'll either educate me or I'll educate you. One of the two. Not a lot of fluff, not a lot of bullshit. Even the personal stuff that I talk about, like the shit with my kid just now, it's an example of, you know, I'm trying to show the childish nature in which the opposition seems to be. Like, it's always childish. It's strange. It's the strangest thing is how childish the opposition is from adults. I expect it from a child, but from adults, it's like everybody sort of stops at like 14. You know, and the thing is, the hardest part about so much of it is, like, I know there are much smarter people than me out there, right? I know there are people that could come in and big word me to death. They could quote this, that, and the other. Wow. That was interesting. You know, they're scientists or engineers or whatever it may be. But one of the key tenets to all of this is the understanding that just because you can recite something doesn't mean it's right. You know, just because you're a history professor who can, you know, correct all the little mundane little details on the conversation doesn't mean all those details are correct. You know, the winners who write the history, like, we all think about it, we all know that quote, and we think about it from the perspective of, like, maybe they tinkered with this or they fiddled with that, instead of understanding that, like, they could have easily rewritten the entire thing. Our entire narrative, our entire historical concept, belief, all of that shit could be, and in my opinion is, completely inaccurate. And it has to be. Because if it wasn't, then it wouldn't work the way they want it to work. You recalled this before with your boys, an incident that will always stay with you, I think. I mean, with my youngest, it was the decider. Like, I had maybe spanked them a handful of times before that, if that. And when I did, it wasn't. I could never get myself to do very much. But with my youngest, the concept of his dad hitting him was psychologically too much for my little one to handle. Like the crying and the physical, the way he physically got upset over the idea. Like, I smack my kids on the butt all the time. And it, you know, I'm like, Dad! When I smack them on the butt, it's harder than when I would spank them. But just the thought of it, the whole process, start to finish, was so much for my youngest that he would freak out. And I couldn't do that to him. I just thought, like, you've already gotten a psychological punishment. You are in bad shape that it's gonna take you a long time to recover from this to begin with. And you know, what am I gonna hit you on top of that? Like, it was just. And then, you know, the thought that I ever did it to begin with is just, you know, I think as adults, we at whatever age we are, we've normalized it. It's become, well, you spank your kids, yeah, whatever, you spank your kids, and we've forgotten what it's like to be a child in that situation. And I was wrong for doing that. I am so sorry. Like, truly felt that way. You spank your kid, and they don't go in their room when you walk away, and they don't sit there and cry it out going, oh, I deserve that. I was bad. I shouldn't have done that. No, they're going, I fucking hate that guy. I would never hit my kid. Why would he hit me? He's so much bigger than me. You know, fuck him. Right. Appropriate. And at that point, you have to talk to your child. So why not just talk to the beginning? Like, spanking doesn't make sense. It's not something where you'll fuck up, and because you fucked up, somebody is going to hit you on the ass. That's not a thing. Yeah, you might get punched in the face, but that's illegal. But, you know, a gajillion % of the time, you get spanked, and if someone hits someone else, and to teach kids to respond with violence, like, it's just stupid. You're teaching them that when and a lot of times, like, when parents spank, they get frustrated, they get mad, oh my god, I saw it, and they get you and they spank, and it's like they lost control for a second. So you're teaching them to lose control and hit children. Like, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. I'm glad I can't look back and be like, yeah, I tore their asses up, or, you know. I know that when I spanked them, it was, you know, 2-3 times, and I pulled back, and I hated it, and I hugged them, like, and then I would think about, like, what kind of crazy mixed signals am I sending? I'm gonna spank you because you got in trouble, and then I'm gonna hug you because I hurt you? Because that's my immediate reaction. Seeing my child hurting and in pain, I'd sit there and hug him, and he'd just be all like, and I'd be like, why aren't you hugging me back, you know? But you know why they're not hugging you back. You just hit them. That is psychotic. That is fucking psychotic. And that's what society tells me to do. Spare the rod. What is it? Spare the rod, save the child. Isn't that how that goes? According to the Bible, you should spank your children instead of teaching them to talk. But you know what? So many of us were never taught to speak to begin with. We were taught through being spanked. That's what we know, and that's what I knew. You know, unfortunately, that's what I knew. I was told, you know, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I was spanked. I was spanked hundreds of times. Like, hundreds of times. With weapons. You know, my mom used a wooden spoon. And then one day, when I was like 13 or so, 13, 14, I don't know. Let's see. It was, yeah, it's probably about 14. I did something she was mad about, and she was gonna spank me over it. So she had me bend over the couch, and she hit me once, and it hurt. But by then, like, when I was 14, I was made of steel, man. I wasn't like a kid from today. I rode my bike, 20 miles a day for fun. Like, not riding, but like just like riding around, and played sports all day and climbed trees, and like I was just a little piece of steel. And I think it was the second hit, the spoon broke and flew off. And when it flew off, I saw it like out of the corner of my eye, and I heard it hit, and I started laughing. And my mom, who all she had known is to hit me, immediately realized that wasn't the case anymore. That wasn't this super effective weapon and tool anymore. I mean, it broke on me. It was probably already weakened from the years of spankings, but like she flipped out. She was like, "Ah! Get out of here! Go to your room!" She like flipped out, and it was fear, because she thought that she had to be physically, superior to me to get her way, and just that's what she knew. And I used to say growing up I was gonna spank my kids. I always thought I would, and then I had them, and I I mean, I was in my 30s, so maybe that had something to do with it, but the psychological aspects of everything is just too heavy for me. I could not abuse my children like that and send them the mixed signals, and I just couldn't. That shit was, what the fuck are people doing? I don't know, man. You just, I didn't bring something to drink, and I'm dying. God, motherfucker. I look at it all so everything seems to be such a lie. Spank your children? What? You want me believing in a fantasy fairy lives in the sky and controls what I do. Unless the fantasy bad fairy down below decides to fuck with shit, then all-powerful super fairy up top. I mean, none of it makes any sense. None of it. It's so mind-numbingly frustrating and stupid. And it's even more frustrating and stupid that it's so impossible to find somebody that's able to have that simple conversation. Just talk about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm okay with that. But it just does, like, whatever the thing is. I have a hard time believing in just about anything I've been taught anymore. You know, the little bit that we've been given about Tartaria really does throw a wrench into everything. And it's not talked about nearly as much as it should be. You know, the whole Tartaria thing completely destroys the Native American genocide. Oh, there we go. We've got Trader Todd USA. And you're a Trump train? What's that mean? Do you want to be in a train with Trump? I didn't know that's where this conversation had gone. Interesting. Definitely interesting. But see, like, again, this person is going to be proud enough to come on here and say that nonsense. But when asked, you know, to elaborate, hey, why do you feel that way? Why are you on the Trump train? What has he done to earn your support like he has? You're not going to say anything. No, there's no pride there. And that's so crazy to me. God, I'm in the rich fucking town. That's why I'm getting such a stupid good deal, because the guy's rich. Yep. I have one kid to turn the other cheek or take an eye for an eye. I'm confused. Right. Now that's blasphemous. I guess you're only allowed to kill people when it's for God, or like they wear two of the same fabrics, or you're I mean, you're allowed to stone your disobedient children, right? Like, that's their shit. Let's see. This guy's only got a Porsche on his front fucking car. Yeah. Jesus Christ. So, guys, let's chill out for a second. I'll be right back. Oh.
Which cars? I don't know.
Ronnie? Is this Ronnie's house?
No. That's
Oh.
Bram.
Huh?
No. You're totally wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is not?
Bram, we're Charlotte.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry. I gotta figure this out, guys. I'll be back.